You're joking, right?
Well, I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm trying to be optimistic about that.
Well, I guess you're too young to be a little pessimistic like me. The fucking things I see after people are stupid.
I've been like, I don't know what it is. I've been like in and out of sick for like 2-3 weeks now, but now.
Well, it might be after effects of the wedding being run down.
Yeah.
Are we on?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
And I was fine all day today, and then we just ate food, and I have like what you have, like it's making my throat all itchy and scratchy.
Sorry to hear that.
Maybe that's just the married bloom life.
That's a bloom trait. Yeah, I guess we're allergic to our wives once we get married. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a stomach virus for like over a week. It's terrible.
That's the worst.
No, it's just it's just my stomach or whatever. It doesn't matter. It is what it is. So
that
how
norovirus? That was when you had it first, and I remember you were like,
is that the one where I went to the hospital?
yes, and
Yeah,
so
that
you
was
went to the
bad.
hospital, and we all were making fun of you because we were like, "Come on, you took yourself to the hospital for a stomach ache."
Okay, have I ever done that?
No, but
I thought I was going to get dehydrated. That's how bad it was.
No, I had it 3 weeks after you too, because Bryce got it and then I got it. It was the only time in my life where I was like, I might die from this. Like, that's how bad it was.
Yeah. No, a lot of people had that going around.
Like, I might wither away because of this sickness that I have.
And I apparently now Uncle Brand had it for like 3 days. It's just whatever. It is what it is. So hello everybody. What's going on with you, Barney? Tell me about your weekend. I'm sure people want to hear.
It's not that. Just errands, running errands, like looking at apartments.
Married life. Oh, you found some apartments?
Well, we're looking. We're looking.
And where are you looking?
Just like around Brickell for the most part.
Isn't it fun?
Yeah, I don't love it. I never have though. Like, because I'm just like, I just want to find one that works and then I'm going to do it. Where like Hannah will spend 5 hours a night scrolling through Zillow, looking
the woman
at
thing,
each individual one. I'm like, that drives me crazy.
Aren't you going to Panorama?
I don't think the price is going to make sense.
How much they want for a 2-bedroom?
I mean, it depends. Each one is like completely different. We wouldn't even get a 2-bedroom there. The 1-bedrooms there are the price of 2 elsewhere. So
how much about?
Like their 1-bedrooms are like 4,300. It's crazy. So it's just not really going to make sense for our price.
What are you looking to spend? Approximately in the threes?
Like ideally high threes is going to be, you can't get, like, you just can't get anything around for less than that. So some places, they're listed at like 4.2 when you can get them down to like 3.8 kind of thing.
Wow. And you don't want to stay in your current apartment?
We can't. We literally can't. They sold.
What about anything else in that building?
We're looking at, that's like where we're trying to go, is the current building. The majority of the apartments that we've looked at have been in this building. So.
And you're getting a 1-bedroom?
2-bed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
What about this? Is Midtown cheaper or too far?
It's not cheaper. If anything, it's more expensive because there's less apartments. At least in Brickell, there's so many apartments that the prices are competitive. When you go elsewhere, it's like if you go in anywhere south, they're like up in the 5s automatically, like Coconut Grove or Coral Gables or anything.
That's absurd.
Yeah. Sorry for this cough, everyone.
All right. So what's going on?
We're at war, I guess.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mom said there's videos of how the bombs went.
There supposedly are. I don't think it's true because none have been released by official sources. And how would there be videos of a bomb being dropped that no one knew the bomb was being dropped, even American military people?
But someone dropped them. Why can't there be a video of it?
No, but the bombs were dropped by the B-2 stealth bomber, and no one knew the bombs were being dropped until after the bombs were dropped. That's like the whole point. It was a stealth attack. So how could someone have a video before the bomb?
Oh, I'm not saying someone had a video. I'm saying that a video of the bomb being like maybe it was part of the army,
Right,
armed
but then
force.
why would it have been released by official sources? It's like random accounts on Twitter. So that's why I'm dubious of those. I think people are just getting a video of a bomb going off and saying this is the video, and then they get millions of views, and they,
So what's your thoughts on this whole thing?
I think it's I don't think it's good. I'm against it.
You're against, so you think Iran should have nuclear capabilities?
Okay, so those are two different questions.
Well, it's the efforts, the actions taken by the U.S. were related to that question.
Well, that's what they say. Iran has been.
Oh, you're so skeptical. You're too young.
No. But they invaded Iraq because they said the Iraqi government. We have evidence that the Iraqi government has weapons of mass destruction, and we can't have those. And then now, 20 years later, we know for a fact that just wasn't true. They just wanted to go to war with Iraq, so they said we're doing this because they have weapons. That's factual. That's what it is. So it's not that I'm skeptical. It's just I look at what they've done in the past. And then the other aspect of it is not that I'm skeptical. It's that, okay, if we've wanted to get rid of Iran's nuclear capabilities, they've been building up their nuclear arms for 20 years. Why all of a sudden now, in the 11th hour, are we doing it? Why wouldn't we have tried to stop them? If we're going to be like, guys, we have to use bombs to stop them, why wouldn't we have bombed them when they had their first little breakthrough? Why wouldn't we have done it back then?
Okay, well, first of all, we weren't, Trump, he was in office prior to that. I get it. But
Iran has been developing nuclear weapons when Bush was in office.
Well, I think there's a couple. I think that they probably have it now, and it was more of a threat.
Trump was president 4 years.
Wait, I'm saying maybe it's more of a threat now. Maybe it's the fact of also supporting Israel. Maybe it's also the fact that Trump is sending a message that we are, America is back to being a strong powerhouse. And I don't want Iran having nuclear. I don't want it. I don't fucking want it. I don't think it's good.
I don't want it either. Like, that's why when you asked that, I was like, those are two different questions because my answers are different. You said, so do you want Iran having nuclear weapons? My answer to that is no. But then the answer to, do I think that we should go in and stop them from having nuclear weapons? No, I don't think we should do that.
Why?
Because if another country did it to us, I would be like, who the fuck are you to be able to do that to us?
All right, but there's a difference. We have to make sure America's protected. That's what I'm concerned with. So, but you're talking about.
We haven't done it to other countries. We didn't stop North Korea from doing it. We didn't stop India from doing it. We didn't stop China from doing it.
Because maybe it's a little more rationale where the philosophy and the ideology behind the Iranian. What?
North Korea?
Yeah, but North Korea has a lot more to lose like we do. It's different. There's a more that it's a little bit different than.
What do you mean more to lose?
Meaning there's a little more rational. I think that the North Korea does. I don't think wants to be quickly so war is going to act irrational. Where and I'm not saying about Iranians. I'm talking about the current people in power in Iran is the problem, not the people in Iran. All right. So I think that there are much more of a loose cannon. And their ideology is different to take down America, where I
disagree.
All right, but listen, I think it sends a message. I think it was necessary, and I'm glad.
Sends what message? That other countries can't do what they want?
No, about America, about that we are the powerhouse, and we are, we're like the parent. If there's things that's a threat to America, we're gonna do what we need to do to make sure there's no threat to America.
Okay, but that's different than saying we are the parent.
No, meaning, but we are the ones that say, listen, we're going to do what we think is right. And that's just that we are the powerhouse and that's the deal.
Yeah, but so I'm against it regardless of whether Trump was involved or not. But then it's even more frustrating, all of this, because it's literally the opposite of why Trump became president. He was given a mandate on America first and on saying no more wars, no more.
But this is America. See, I look at this is America first. That's why it's being done.
But did Iran strike U.S. soil?
No, but it's America first. Because this is a concern. For whatever reason, got escalated, and he did what he felt is best for America. About the Iranian leadership, which is a real fucking problem. When he was trying to negotiate with them, about saying what needed to be done, and they wouldn't listen, and they were making threats back to us, and he just eliminated it. I'm all in favor of that.
I know, but like,
and you should be too, because this is more important for your future than it's for my future.
I know. It's just, here's like, everyone's saying, oh, this is necessary because they're a potential future threat to America. So
they are a threat, not a potential. They are
no,
a threat.
but there hasn't been action yet, right? So it's only potential action. There hasn't been any actual Iranian assault on American.
But there's been threats, and
right. But so it's potential.
No, but the difference is you can't when you deal with a loose cannon.
Well, what about them has been loose? How have they acted loosely?
Well, if they're irrational. The whole behavior is irrational.
I'm asking how. How in the last 20 years?
Iran, the leaders, the current, the Khomeini, what do you,
yeah, he has been in power for like over 20 years. So it's not like he's new. We don't know how he acts.
No, but he's growing. And look at the actions done. That's Iran's behind all the stuff with the, what happened with Israel. They are behind it
all. That's America first.
No, listen, but it shows you listen, you look at things based on people's character, their actions, their words, the prior history of their prior course of conduct. What they did to the Israelis on October 7th, and America is an ally, Israel is our strongest ally. What they did shows you the kind of behavior and the people that they are. Not Iranians, the people in charge. Okay, sure. There's a big difference.
But so you still agree that it's a potential. So there's been actual threat and action on other non-American forces, but on American forces.
I am 100% in favor for the protection of Israel, for the protection of America. I'm 100% in favor of what Trump did.
Okay, right. But what my point is everyone's saying, oh, this is well, not everyone. Actually, a lot of people are against this. A lot of Republicans are against this because they were saying, I voted for you, Donald Trump, because you said you weren't going to go to wars. And then Trump and his people are saying, no, we needed to do this because we're protecting a potential future threat against America. But then it's like, that's not true because you can't just use that logic on one thing. Because if you're going to use that logic, then we have to bomb North Korea. We have to bomb China. We have to get rid of Putin. We have to get rid of Syria. We have to get rid of Egypt. Why just this one time are we going to be like, oh yeah, there's a potential future threat. We have to bomb them. Why aren't we bombing all these other countries? They're threats.
Well, I think there are other countries that are potential threats, but a little bit difference in the rationale and the mentality and the ideology of one group as opposed to the other group. We're always gonna have threats out there, but also it sends a big message. It lets them know America's back, baby. We are strong. We're not gonna roll over. Where if it was like Biden or Kamala or Obama,
roll over. Okay, but when Russia,
all right, listen. So you think then you would be okay?
We just disagree. I mean, it's okay. That's what we're talking about.
I'm not angry. Yeah. I'm not angry at all.
When Russia invaded Ukraine, did the rest of the world, like outside of Russia, did we all look at Russia and be like, whoa, damn, they're not going to back down. They're not going to roll over like whatever you just said. They're back, baby. Or did we think these fucking assholes think they can do whatever they want to do? Fuck Russia. Which did the world take?
But not, a couple of things.
But just in general, in Russia, I bet they were like,
oh, Russia though. Russia has a negative. Has always been an adversary of us. They have a negative. They have a negative influence. A negative. America's always had a negative view towards Russia, just the way it is, whether it's through social media.
No, but I'm not talking about America and Russia relations.
And the reason why a lot of people support Ukraine over Russia is because Ukraine is not a threat to Russia. They were not.
Okay, well, Russia. But Russia. The whole reason why Russia and Putin invaded Ukraine, as they say, is because it was a threat. Because no, Dad. Putin claimed. I watched a 5-hour interview with him on Tucker Carlson.
Wasn't it because he wanted for the protection of Russia to have the territory?
No,
for the safety of Russia.
The safety of Russia, right? Exactly.
But the safety is because he needs that land to protect for the territory of Russia.
No,
and
it's because
he's always thought Ukraine is Russia.
Right, but why did he do it then? It's because Ukraine was about to become part of NATO, and Putin felt that that was a threat from Western forces on Russian sovereignty. And so he said, if they're going to be putting new missile bases right on our border, that's a threat. I can't let that happen. I need to invade. So how is that any different?
It's different. It's different because it's a threat for the benefit of the country because of the territory, not because Ukraine is going to go ahead and invade Russia or kill Russians or attack
Iran
Russia.
isn't going to invade the U.S.
No, Russia, that's not true. The Iranian people in office, not the Iranians again, the leaders in Iran have been so anti-America, have been made threats to America, and we have to make sure that they don't carry out their prior course of conduct, the way they even go to war, the irrational way it is.
But
you can't have negotiation.
We haven't had a single U.S. soldier die by the hands of an Iranian.
But look what they did. Look at the behavior, what they did to Israel. Okay,
that's not America.
But that doesn't matter.
But it does because Trump ran on America first, not America and Israel.
Okay, but you could run on something and still do things like the borders and reduce crime, and you could realize that sometimes things change and you change your mind.
Right, but he's not saying I changed my mind, and that's what everyone.
He doesn't have to say it changed my mind. He's
right, but then can't you see how like a bunch of people who voted for him, like me, who I voted for? I voted for him because his number one. A lot of people voted for Trump because his number one thing was no more wars. And then when you see him instigating a war,
but there is not a war right now. We don't know if there's going to be a war. He just said he was listen, and you can have your opinion. I respect that, but that wasn't the most important thing. The most important thing to me was the borders. Okay, that was the first and foremost. So now and to not have Kamala. But here's the thing.
I'm not saying me and you. I'm saying a lot of Trump voters.
I get it, but on the same token, America is going to be safer, and we have a strong leader. Because the people in charge of Iran are crazy and volatile.
Right, but how would provoking them now make us safer?
It's not. Listen, by getting rid of provoking, I'm not worried about provoking them. They're third world when it comes to their military compared to
but you just acknowledged that they're an actual threat to us. So how are you not?
Because of the nuclear and not. Because of the nuclear, you don't understand there's a difference. You don't really understand. For example, if you have a machine gun and I have a 9mm and I get rid of your machine gun, I'm not worried about you being a threat. There's a difference.
Yeah, but don't you think? Let's say you have a machine gun and I have a machine gun, and we're in our separate villages, and you come and you take my machine gun. Am I just gonna be like, damn? Or am I gonna sneak into your village in the middle of the night and slit your throat?
Maybe, but here's the thing. You might say if I split the throat, our village there's a high chance more than not of our village being annihilated.
Yeah, but you just said they're erratic.
No, listen. But my point.
So why wouldn't they do that?
Because they have no way of defending themselves now. There's a difference. But there's a huge difference.
Did we completely annihilate their nuclear weapon potential completely? They can never make nukes again?
Well, if they do it again, they might have to, depending who's in office, they might just have the same effect.
No, but even like right now, like did the bombs that were dropped yesterday make it impossible for them to have nuclear weapons for the next 5 years? I don't know.
I don't know the answer to that.
Right. So what if it didn't and we just poked the bear even more?
Okay, and what if it did?
But they're not claiming it did, so I'm imagining it did it.
Okay, but they're not claiming it didn't.
But if it was a success, if it stopped their nuclear weapon capabilities, because that was the goal, as they're saying. If it actually did that, then don't you think they would say that this was a success?
I think it is. I think it is a success.
Why? What's the success about it?
I think because we did exactly what we wanted to do.
Well, we don't know what we wanted to do because no one knew the mission. It was secret.
They wanted, but listen, Trump has spoken about it. They wanted to take out those 3 nuclear sites, and they did that. So therefore, if that's what they want to do, that's a successful mission.
Well,
that's what they set out.
That's what they're saying.
What they set out. Okay, that's what I'm saying. They set out for something. That's what they're saying. And Trump, look, I understand politicians. I get it. That the government, things that we're not going to know about. I get it. But he's been a lot transparent. I think Trump has made it very clear before this strike happened about negotiating. He gave him an opportunity to negotiate. He said before, now they want to come talk to us. It's a little bit too late.
Right, but
Okay, I get it. Listen,
I don't
Trump is a
disagree.
very good. Listen, Trump is obviously extremely good negotiator. We know that, right? He wrote a book about it. He's successful, whether you like him or not. He's a very, very good negotiator. There are people who are just better negotiating than others. Okay, I think that he did the right thing. I don't want any Iranians killed. I want the people in power. Just like I guarantee, well, I can't guarantee. I bet that the people in Iran don't want those people in power.
A lot of them don't. Yeah.
They just want to live their life.
Here's the thing.
People want to live their life. Oh, look at that.
Nice. I don't disagree with like with a lot of what you're saying and a lot of like the reasoning behind what happened. I disagree with some of it, but on a larger scale, I think it's just like we're just in America, we look at things too just like from our point of view only as the only point of view. Like think if it was the other way around, if we wanted to develop something, right? Like let's just say we wanted to make a special type of airplane in America by Americans for American safety. And a bunch of other Russia, China, they were like, America, you can't do that. We would be like, fuck you.
I get it.
Who are you to tell us, America, what we can and can't do? We're going to build the plane that we want to do and fuck off. And then they would say, you know what? You have to negotiate with us because we don't want you building that plane. We would say, fuck your negotiations. It's our country. We're in charge. It's our plane. We're building it. We don't need anyone else's help to build it. We're doing it ourselves in our country. Fuck off. And then if they said, nope, you can't do that, and we're going to put sanctions on you, we're going to do all this, we would say, why do you leave us alone? Let us do what we want to do. And then,
well, you're right.
Then if they came in and in the middle of the night bombed a bunch of American cities, we would then be like, oh, you all are fucking dead. Right? Like if it was the other way around, if that happened to us, would you not be on my side of that debate?
Yeah, but your analogy
fuck off, China. Fuck off.
But your analogy is a little bit different. The difference is saying if there's a threat to my country, which is really all I care about. I'm not looking for due process. If there's a threat, it's like a fight. There's no such thing as a fair fight. If there's a threat to my country, I'm 100% supporting my country. Just like there's a threat to Israel, I'm going to support Israeli as a nation. Okay, that's just like if my kids got in a fight with some other parents' kids, I am supporting my kids over their kids. That's just the way it is. It's not.
But we're not in a fight.
Let me finish.
We weren't in a fight.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I agree. I don't know if I necessarily agree with you. And I don't want I don't want there to be there's a threat to my future, my children, and my future grandchildren. I want it stopped. Period.
Okay, so then why do we let China have nukes? They have.
We've had this conversation. We discussed this over and over. I'm just saying because Trump was negotiating with them. There was a certain the other countries, Russia, China, all those countries, and America. We all might have it, but none. There's a difference in the negotiation, difference in what's going on, the difference in the trade, the difference in the economics. You're dealing with irrational. I would believe.
What? No, but why are they irrational? What irrational action have they done?
Well, look what they did to number one to Israel. Look at their mentality of America.
What did they do? No, I'm asking. What irrational?
The October 7th.
That wasn't Iran. That was Hamas.
It was all okay. You need to watch October 8th, the movie number one, the day after. Okay, you need to. If you were to delve
they
into
financially backed it. But what's irrational about that?
Okay, Iran is the one behind all this stuff.
But
all of it.
What's irrational about that?
What they did, seriously, you don't.
It's barbaric.
Okay.
Right, but no, but
okay. All right, listen.
China's
I disagree with you. Listen,
the U.S. when we go to war, we're barbaric.
I think that your generation or whatever it is, or more people should be like 100% it was needed. I'm glad it was done. And it's unfair. Listen, 100% it's unfair. There's no question about it.
Why are we bombing other nuclear countries?
Listen, it is 100% unfair. I agree with you, but that's the way it is.
And why wasn't this done 20 years ago?
I don't have an answer for that. Maybe
no one does.
Wait,
I'd like an answer to that. Trump should answer that.
Maybe they weren't as far along as they are now. Maybe,
Right, but that's more reason why to do it back then.
No, let me finish. Maybe there, for all I know, and we don't know the facts, there were discussions between the leaders back then, and I don't know, maybe they were a little more agreeable. Who knows? I don't know the answer to that.
Right, but I would like the people in charge to figure that out, because if they're saying this is a real threat that we need to go like break into another country and damage stuff, that's how big of a threat this is, then I want to be like, but then why'd you let it get to that threat level?
I don't know the answer to that.
But why you but that's
But it doesn't matter because,
no, but it does.
No, I'll tell you the reason why it doesn't matter. Because just because you didn't do something, people can, things can happen, things can change. There could be a greater concern now based on what's going on with Israel, based on we see the way they are, based on maybe the guys
but here's
maybe the leader got crazier.
But
maybe
it's the same
discussion, maybe the negotiation between them, what they were doing between Trump and him, he realized this guy's who I don't know. I'm not in those meetings. I know,
but if it does, that really does matter, because based off your most of your support for this, it sounds like
I just got to raise the air from Brian.
A lot of your support for this action comes from the fact that Israel has been being attacked, right? If the US intervened 15 years ago and we cut off Iran at the kneecaps before they could become a bigger threat, then this Israel shit would have never popped off, and all those people would have been alive.
Okay, but maybe not. But on the same token,
you
can't say just because he didn't do something yesterday doesn't mean you can't do something.
I know,
today.
but don't they say the best time to start working out was yesterday? The best time to stop a threat is yesterday.
Wait, why didn't you work out? Why are you working out today? We could have worked out yesterday. You could have done it a year ago.
Right,
but that rationale makes no sense.
No, but Dad, it does. Wait, can you listen to me?
Yes, I'm just.
If you're gonna train, if you're about to go to a weightlifting competition against someone,
yes,
and they're your competition, right? Like 20 years ago, we knew Iran was a threat to us. We knew they didn't like us, and we knew they were a threat to us because we've been trying to stop them from getting nuked for 20 years with all the Iran deals and shit. So we knew they were a threat. If you were going up against a weightlifting competition against a guy, and you knew he was your competition, and you had a little piece of poison that you could slip him, wouldn't you want to do it as soon as possible? Why would you want him to weightlift for years and years and years, and then right before the competition you do it? No, you do it as early as possible. And you're saying, but what if we didn't know? We've been in a back and forth with Iran for literally 2 decades. They knew that Iran was a threat. They knew Iran was building up nuclear weapons, and they didn't do anything about it. And now all of a sudden they're like, whoa, this is a threat. We got to do it. They let the threat grow.
First of all, your argument of why didn't do something and they doing it now doesn't work.
It does, because that's what's happened in the past.
That's not how life works.
No, it does.
No,
let me finish. Because that's how they get to war. Is they
second of all, Obama, and we don't know enough facts. None of us do, as to why they didn't do it back then. There's literally a video of Obama saying, if Iran back when he was in office is a threat, right? It's been a big threat. Let me finish. Every person's coming. We don't know why they didn't do it. Okay, we'll never know. We don't know what's transpired. We don't know if there are other things. We just don't know, because we will never know.
Of course, and that's why I'm talking in hypotheticals, and you're saying they don't.
However, the fact of why we didn't do it is not an argument for why we're doing it today. That's not an argument. It is not an argument. There's no disrespect. That's not a rationale. Because, for example, if you use the analogy of a weightlifter, which is a silly analogy. I don't mean that disrespect. But
but why is it a silly analogy?
Because I'm going to use another analogy. Say, if your son, let's say you have a son, and he didn't study for a year for this exam, but he studied 3 days before for the exam and killed on the exam, or saying, why? I have a question. Why did you wait so long to go to law school?
Why did you
do it 4 years ago?
You're misunderstanding the logic. Then let's take the sun analogy, because you took a piece out. We're not comparing one person. We're comparing two that are competing against each other. Let's take the sun analogy. It would be for 10 years, you knew that your son had this important test in the future. And you said, you better start studying for that test. You better start studying for that test. And the son never did it. You would feel very differently 10 years in the future towards your son if he never studied and you were telling him every day to, than if none of you ever knew about the test and then all of a sudden you found out, right? Don't you think you'd feel differently about your son's score? I'm taking your hypothetical.
I don't understand the last part you said.
No, because your analogy doesn't, I don't think your analogy, no
Maybe
offense.
maybe my analogy doesn't work. It's not a big deal. But I don't think the
What I'm saying is that America knew, and you just said this, that Obama, there's video of him doing this. Yes, America for 20 years knew Iran was a threat, right? Right? So
a potential threat.
Well, but
maybe they got to Ronnie.
Have they changed to an actual threat now?
No, listen. No, what I'm saying, but maybe the nuclear advancement. These again, I don't know the answer to what I'm saying, but I don't know the facts. But maybe the sites they took out are the ones that have nuclear capability. So they're saying we're taking out, and it doesn't mean there might not be other sites that might be fighters on the road, but it sends a message saying you cannot do this.
Right,
we try to negotiate because I don't know, Ronnie. I don't know what. It's like who killed OJ? The only one that knows is the dog. We don't know.
Wait, but what? No, what do you? I was going to say, but who are we to say that they can't have nuclear weapons?
I am 100%. We are America. We are the powerhouse. If it threatens us, we have the right to do it. Whether like it, that's it. Period.
So can Russia or China do that with us?
They could try. We're a powerhouse. That's a big issue. They could try. Who knows if they try? They could definitely try. That's what wars. That's what they do in Europe.
Right, but if they tried, if Russia bombed America, we would now be going to war with them.
Yes.
Right, but
Russia might not want that. Iran is not in a position where they might not say they're in a position. They might not be in a position to say we want to go to war with America. Russia, North Korea, China, different position, but they all have. Listen, we all have too much to lose. The philosophy and the mentality of the Iranian government doesn't care about what they lose because they have nothing to lose.
But then why haven't they ever? Because
they might not be. I do believe that there are sleeper cells, that the irrationality of the Iranian government, that there will be attacks in America. I do believe that.
So didn't we just accelerate that by those bombs last night?
But the point is that if that happens, we have the ability to annihilate Iran. It's a difference where if you're dealing with Russia and Ukraine, see, that's my point. Russia, North Korea, China, it's like America. We don't want to go to war with them.
Not North Korea, but
okay. We don't want to go to war with them and vice versa because there's too much going on. There's a lot of economics and you deal with different kind of leaders. The Iranian leaders are crazy. So will there might be fallout. I agree, but I think what he did was the right thing. I do. I think Trump is strong, and it's not a Trump thing. I think that if America did it, whoever's in office, I think it's the right thing. That's just my opinion. Now, is it unfair? Is it right? Different stories. But if it protects the right thing. No, because meaning it protects the future, possible future of my children and my grandchildren. So Iran scares me. When Biden was over, we give $6 billion, which funded this stuff. Iran, not the people in power of Iran is a concern and scares me. I don't want them in. I think they need to kill those leaders too. That's my opinion. I think they need to kill those leaders, period. That's my opinion. Like Osama bin Laden. I'm glad they killed him. They need to kill these crazy.
Yeah, but think about how many Americans were killed to kill that guy. Hundreds of thousands.
No, but
hundreds of thousands of Americans, people like me. Because Bush wanted, some guy sitting in a White House in Washington, D.C. wanted to kill Osama bin Laden. So 100,000 people like me had to go die, and then their children were affected, and not their grandchildren. But do you not see that side of it? Like, if we go to war with Iran, it's not over in a day. There's going to be a lot of people that die, and it's like, do those people have to die?
Well, no, I don't want anyone to die. But the problem is this: in 20 years, if we don't keep a tight leash on Iran, in 20 years, there'll be no America.
Okay, but and then here's the other like so you're basically operating on the logic that if Iran got nuclear weapons, they would use them.
I wouldn't put it past them at all.
No, but that's the only reason why if we view them as an actual threat is we believe that they would
I said I don't put it past
because we don't really view China as like a nuclear threat. We don't really think they're going to launch nukes in America. They just have them, so we're like, oh, whoa, this changes things. We don't actually think they're going to use them. But you and Trump and all the people who support this are operating under the idea that the second they get them, they will use them to destroy America. Which also, in turn, following your logic, and actually, I agree with this part of logic. Like if they use them, which you think they will because they're erratic and all this, and they're a threat.
You don't think they would use them?
No, because then they would cease to exist.
But the difference is they're martyrs when they die. There's a difference. When they die in their religious beliefs and their craziness and their leaders, when they die, they're considered martyrs.
So then why
they don't wait. They don't value life the same way I think we do, or let's say Russians do. It's a little bit different. Now, making general statements, I think they're It's like someone that's on drugs or is emotionally fucking crazy. They don't value, they have nothing to lose. They don't value life the same way you and I do because we have a lot to lose.
But then why haven't they done it yet?
I think they have done with the way.
How have they done it? How have they threatened their own existence? The Iranian government, how have they taken steps to annihilate themselves? Because if, as you say, they don't care about existing.
No, I'm saying meaning they would kill. They're happy to kill because they think that's like a reward if they die.
So why haven't they done that yet?
Oh, I think they have done many times.
But they haven't died. So I don't know. So
no, the Iranian,
the Iranian government, why haven't they tried to attack America? If they're totally fine with dying based on their attack, why haven't they
disagree? We just disagree. I think it's
no, but I'm asking. No, we don't disagree on that. That was a question. Why haven't the Iranian establishment government done anything to actually attack on American soil in 20 years if they're totally okay with dying because of it? Why?
Because maybe
are they just waiting for the right moment?
No, maybe they didn't have the strength behind it with having the nuclear stuff.
But 12 guys in a cave in Afghanistan working under Osama bin Laden did the biggest killing in on American soil in the
with what 9/11?
Yeah, it was 12 guys in a cave. So the Iranian government couldn't build up something like that.
Of course they can.
But then why? But
we learn from that. We learn from that. Right, we have different checks and balances with regards to things. Sometimes people look, the Israelis, like the strongest intelligence, strongest government, they got comfortable and lazy and fat too.
Right, but that's not what I'm saying.
That happened.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying, 9/11 happened because we got complacent. I'm saying if 9/11 could have happened with people who were way less, they didn't run a country. They were they were a tribe in the desert. The Iranian government runs a country. They have an actual military under their power. If you believe that the second they get nuclear weapons, they're launching them, why haven't they done anything?
I didn't say the second they get it. I'm just saying they're not afraid to die. The difference.
Right, but okay, so then they're not afraid to die. Why haven't they attacked America the Iranian government has been in since the 80s. So 40 something years. Why in 40 something years haven't they done anything?
Okay, what I'm trying to say is, which you're not, I don't know if you're necessarily listening to me, okay, is that if they might not have the same position of strength to go ahead and do what they want to do to America. So therefore, now as a result of it, if they have the nuclear and which, let's say, negotiating with them, they have nuclear in their back pocket, they might have a very different position and they don't care. We do know that government regime, we know for a fact, it's a very different government regime than Russia, China, America. It's very, very different. Okay. So again, we don't agree. It's fine. I agree. I want it. What?
I also just
Well, I
like,
know.
I think, and we're all prey to this. I'm very anti-Iran, very, but also like we are being actively propagandized to every day about Iran. Like when you say they are drastically different from even China, it's like, how? What do you mean by that? What is so different about them and the people who even runs Iran? Like we don't even know. We only because Iran doesn't it's like in North Korea, like none of us really know how North Korea
So
operates
why do you think America did it then?
because I think the establishment wants to go to war. People have been people, including myself, like 3-4 years ago, have said, "Oh, it seems like a war with Iran is brewing." By the way that the tables were, the chips on the table were being laid and played, it was time for America to go back to war.
Maybe,
That's
maybe,
big
maybe,
business. And
maybe.
so strategically nixing their ability to get nuclear weapons when it would cost 20 grand to do so, right? Let's just say, I don't know the actual numbers, right? Or it would make you 20 grand to get rid of their nuclear weapons 25 years ago. Or if you're just a stockholder, a shareholder, and you're looking at the books and you're just going to say, oh, we would only make 20 grand by doing this 20 years ago, or we could make 20 billion by waiting 20 years and building it up and making it into way more of a problem. We should go with the 20 billion. Like that's what I think at the core of it is, because
We'll never know.
but of course we'll never know. But I'm looking at I'm just looking at the logic of it. If we knew that this was a threat, we should have stopped the threat before it had a chance to even take root. Now we're stopping the threat when it started to flower out of the ground. No,
Maybe who knows? Maybe it was the wrong time. People,
or maybe they wanted the threat to pursue, so
maybe, but I'm just saying the end result is still good for me. It saves my children.
It's not good for you. We don't know yet. What if? I mean, it doesn't really matter for you because your sons aren't going to be like drafted to war. But what if we were? Would you still support the bombing last night? Is if let's say the domino effects and we could see 2 years into the future, and because of the bombing last night, now Burke in 2 years gets shipped off to Iran.
Scary.
Are you still fully supporting this?
Okay, listen. No, I hear you. There are negative. There's always a negative reaction to a positive reaction. Just the way it is. I don't know. There's a lot of hypotheticals. I'm just saying where I'm at in my position in my life, where I'm at in the totality of it. I support it. Brent Bronson, I can make arguments, even though I'm supportive of it, of the negatives behind. Of course, I can. There's always arguments. That's just the way it is. But generally speaking, based on my circumstances, where I'm at, and everything around, I support it. Just like I support Trump, not with everything he does, and I voted for him. I didn't agree with everything, but I voted for him because that's just general terms. In this particular thing, I support what was done. 100%, I agree that there's negative components too. There's a lot of unanswered questions, but in where I sit in this chair, based on me being 58, the circumstances that where I'm at, I support it. And it also supports Israel. It helps Israel, and I support that too.
Yeah, but do you also like? Sorry,
that's okay.
You
understand what I'm saying, though, right? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah. I don't agree, but
you're muted, buddy.
Sorry, I don't agree, but that's okay.
But you understand from me where I'm coming.
I understand what you're saying, but we just have different outlooks on it.
That's okay.
Yeah, of course.
That's what makes the world go round.
Yeah, definitely.
But my goal is to try to keep my family safe.
Right. And I just don't think that I agree. That's my goal too, is having America safe. I don't think that this necessarily helps it. That's just my point of view. I don't think this helps it economically and militarily.
You could be right. I don't have enough facts to. Mine's obviously we're just giving our opinions based on what we know or think we know, whatever.
100%.
And we're in the same I don't have enough facts. I never will have all those facts. So I can only go with what I hear, and And I agree, there's a lot of propaganda out there, and I hear these things and I take it for what it is, whatever, and I draw my conclusions based on what's fed to me, I guess, because a lot of stuff's fed to us through social media and TV. But
Especially
I don't
when
like.
it comes to countries like Iran, North Korea,
Yes,
because
I agree.
they don't have their like they're so sanctioned that like at least Russia, like we can kind of through the internet access Russian points of view. So we can kind of see, oh, what is going on. We can't do that with Iran. Like we are only getting the point of view from our side.
I would love if we
And
get
their
rid of.
side is equally propagandized and all that stuff. So there's the truth is, somewhere in the middle.
We'll never.
Or
We
likely
don't know.
towards our side, because obviously.
But I 100% don't want the Iranian government. I don't want all that. I don't want the Hamas. I don't want the, what do they call the Houthis? What do they call them?
Yeah, Houthis.
Yeah, I don't want any of that shit. Okay, these are evil fucking, not the Iranians. They're not the problem. It's the people in government and power. So I hear you. We'll never know. I understand where you're coming from. I don't blame you for or fault you in any reason for your views. I get it. I'm not saying this is a better reasoning why. I'm saying I'm older. I'm in a little bit different position. And
yeah, but so
yeah.
like you've lived through two of these other types of wars where like there was no actual like like World War II, Vietnam and Korea were kind of not, but like World War II, World War I, like something serious happened, like a line in the sand was drawn, and then America was like, fuck, we have to go to war to defend ourselves, right? Like World War II, Pearl Harbor happened. They bombed in America, and we were like, we have to go defend ourselves. Okay, the wars where that didn't happen, like Iraq, Afghanistan, those wars were like America was saying, we got to go in and do something about these people. Nothing actually ever happened to America. We just were like, we got to go stop this before it happens. Like you lived through those. What good came out of those wars? Those countries are worse off than ever. They hate us, America. They hate America more than ever. The people in those countries under those bad regimes that we were like, we got to stop those guys. Those people are way worse off than they were before. Look at Afghanistan and the pullout after, under Biden, that pullout in the Taliban. So those things happen. Plus, we've spent trillions of American taxpayer dollars on it. We've lost hundreds of thousands of American lives. So someone like me is looking at that and being like, this looks like that again. Our government, both of those times, Iraq and Afghanistan, was saying they have weapons that are a threat to us. We have to go stop them. What good came out of those? Like World War II, post World War II. I mean, first of all, a lot of good came out of World War II, but on the world stage, think about all the countries of Europe, how great the people after the war ended, like the people living in those countries, so much better off than under not the Nazis. Think about the economy in America. The 50s was the best economy that the world's ever seen because we won a war. After Iraq, we had the 2008 crisis, like financial crisis. It was like it tanked our economy. It butchered a bunch of people's lives. A lot of the drug crisis, the war on drugs, all that is because soldiers came home from war and they were fucked up, or they died and their children grew up without a father and they were fucked up. It's like, I can't see a single good thing that came from the wars that this looks like it's just going to be the exact same thing. I don't see a difference between this and Saddam Hussein. Like we were told, oh, he's erratic. He's crazy. If he has these weapons, he'll turn them on America. He'll use them in a second. It's like, yeah, maybe, but also look at what the fuck it did. We didn't do a good job stopping that threat. We did a shit job. I guess there were no weapons that were fired on us by Saddam. Yeah, but we also lost hundreds of thousands of lives and trillions of dollars. It's like, I don't know. That doesn't seem good to me. And that's my future. That's the economy that I'm going to build my kids are going to be born into. And I don't want them born into a wartime economy where a bunch of people are being shipped off and coming back in boxes.
I hear you. I don't know the answer. You bring up valid points. I don't know the answer. I don't.
Because we're being
Love the
told
way
this is
it's
a threat,
said.
this is a threat, this is a threat. Yeah, we were told it's like global warming. 30 years ago, they were like, global warming's a threat. By 20 or by 1999, the sea level Miami's gonna be underwater. And then 1999 came, and they're like, global warming's a threat. By 2005, Miami's gonna be underwater. And they tell us these things, for 30 years. And it's like, I don't know, it's kind of nice out right now in Miami. I don't see any evidence of global warming.
Yeah,
And that's 30 years later. For 30 years, they've been telling us Iran's a threat. Iran's a threat. They are working on nuclear weapons. This is a threat. It's like no Americans have died by the hands of Iranians in 30 years. So I don't know. Are they a threat? I don't know. Or are you just trying to convince us that, like you did with Saddam Hussein, like you did with Afghanistan, like you did with Vietnam, like all of these things that weren't actually true. So when you always say, "Oh, you're being so skeptical," it's like I'm just looking at the past. The past 4 wars America has fought were not true. The government lied to us about why we went to war, and the actual reason was because they wanted to make money. So why would it's like what's the quote? Like, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and like seeking a different result. It's like the same idea. Why, if the last 4 or 5 times that this has happened, it's turned out one way, why now would all of a sudden it would change when the playbook looks exactly the same? They're using the exact same playbook. So that's why I'm just like, it's not that I'm scared.
I respect it. I respect it. I respect it. And your skepticism based on what you're saying, I hear you. But I still stand by my position. I don't want Iran having anything. I don't.
Then you should be questioning your government, saying, why the fuck didn't you do anything 20 years ago?
Yeah, they're gonna respond to that.
No, but you know what I mean. The idea, like,
yeah, but I hear you. But on the same token, that argument doesn't work for me as to what was done.
No, but it's like, it's not an argument that could change things, but it's just like, it should make you think. I think it makes me think differently slightly about the powers that be. It's like, if you guys knew this was a threat, and now you can't all of a sudden now claim we just want American safety. We're just trying to stop the threat. You fuckers knew this was a threat, and you let it go on.
But who knows? Maybe we said, look, we don't need to come in now. Who knows how they're going to develop?
You're giving them the benefit of the doubt. I don't give the government the benefit of the doubt.
All right. Well, I hear you. All right, but I have to go for dinner now.
Okay,
it's almost
an hour on.
I know,
crazy. That was a quick
right?
Conversation.
Quick, right?
It felt like we've been talking for like 15 minutes.
Real fast, Bronny.
Shit, yeah.
Wow. Hannah's good?
Yeah, she's getting a manicure downstairs. There's a nail place in the building.
Downstairs. Oh, yeah, I know.
So she was like, "Oh, you guys are going to do a podcast? Perfect. I'm going to go get my nails done." I was like, "Great."
All right. And you good? Everything's good?
Yeah, we just went food shopping and we had like some wedding registry returns.
Oh, you saw Leslie Wolfson?
Yeah, isn't that funny? She was in line right in front of us.
She's so nice.
Her daughter was sitting there holding her granddaughter, and Hannah and I walked up and I was like, "Look how cute that baby is." And then she heard me and she turned around and I was like, "Wait, she looks familiar." And then I looked over and Leslie was there. I go, "Oh, Leslie." It was funny.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
So you're doing the married stuff. You doing going to the bank, running errands, going food shopping. I love it.
We set up our bank account yesterday. We were finally able to do it.
Nice. So Mr. and Mrs. Bronson Bloom, right?
Yeah, we gotta wait. We're waiting. Hopefully, it's like 2 more weeks till the marriage certificate comes, and then she can bring that to. I think she has to change through Social Security agency first with that, and then once she gets her new Social Security card, then she could go to the DMV, and then it's like everything gets changed after that.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'm so happy for you. Thanks. And we love Hannah.
Yeah.
All right, so probably
look how, like, the apartment used to be there used to be the Care Bear right here. And then look, there's no pink anymore. She's going to hate me for showing how messy it is right now, but there's no
pink. Messy.
No, but
it's just it. But good. And I brought you thinking to get framed.
Yes, thank you.
That'll be nice. All right, good. And maybe I'll see you next weekend at the farmer's market.
Wait, no, we have something that we're all going to next weekend, I feel like. Oh yeah, the farmer. Right. Sorry, I misunderstood what you were saying. Yeah, we'll see that.
All right, buddy.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Love you.
All right, love you too.
Bye, everybody. So I know some people. I was getting texts from people missing the pod. They wanted to hear.
Yeah, we just spent Father's Day with each other instead of with you all.
It was a nice Father's Day. I really
It
enjoyed
was. We had a
it.
great Father's Day.
I love my Father's Day. It was the cards are beautiful. You boys wrote. The gift was great. The day was great. It really was a really nice Father's Day.
Yeah,
And
it was a good like quality time day.
yeah, quality. I agree. And we I brought my picture in to get framed, which is gonna be nice.
Yeah, but mom had this great idea to get that like a custom picture painting of his Porsche in the style of a few that he already has from the same artist. And we were like all so excited to give you the gift. And like we had it hidden. We brought out, we're like, Dad, here's your gift. Take a look. And you're like, I know what it is. And we're like, oh, okay. You're like, it's not even the right color. That was your first.
No,
I was like, Mom worked for months on this gift.
Okay, first of all,
and your
I'm so
first thing. Wait, no, literally, you opened the box. You didn't even open the box. You said, I know what it is. And we said, what? You said, it's
But Mom knew I know.
And then you opened it and you said, it's not in the right color.
First of all,
that was your first word.
All right. First of all, I'm extremely appreciative of it. I knew what it was beforehand. Okay. I didn't know it was in that box that said mirror, so I realized it was a mirror. That's just me. That's just me.
I was like, oh.
It was beautiful. I love it. I still love it. I do love it, and I think it's great. And I'm pumped you guys got it. I'm pumped that Mom put the effort into it and had a great day. So yes, I'm very appreciative of it. But that's just my, my personality.
It was funny.
Well, I didn't mean to deflate anybody and not mean I'm appreciative because I do love it more than anything. And when it's up on my wall in the frame, it's gonna be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But I see you right. That's probably was the wrong response. I didn't mean it that way.
Yeah, like if you like
I get it.
When you gave me that like Pearl Jam sign, the poster that I love. If I open sorry, yeah, okay. I don't need to twist the
hey, but I love it. I just said I had the greatest day. I love my gift, whatever. So now you gotta put a little
sorry. I just thought it was funny. I thought it was funny.
Okay, but I realized it. I loved it. I
told
everybody what a great day it was. I love my gift. I still think it's awesome. It was one of the greatest days. So I get it. It's all right. Yeah. But that's just I have a certain personality. It doesn't mean I'm not a preacher. It's just the way I am.
For sure.
It's not it's just it is. There's the good part of that and there's the bad part of that. That should be the worst thing of your father.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. I mean, but I loved it. It was a great day. Yeah. All right, buddy. Listen, have a good week of work.
Thanks.
We'll talk during the week. Love you. Say hello to Hannah. I hope her nails came out great. And then when I get the picture, I'll have to drive the big black truck down to drop it off to you.
Okay. Or
I probably should wait until you're in your new apartment.
Yeah, I mean, the timing might work out for that anyways.
I'm going to leave it here until you have your new apartment.
Yeah. Okay. And we might need, I might need the truck down here for a weekend anyways when we move.
You can take it, whatever you need. I'll help you with whatever you need. You can take the truck.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Love you, buddy. I got to change. I have dinner. All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening.
You're joking, right?
Well, I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm trying to be optimistic about that.
Well, I guess you're too young to be a little pessimistic like me.
The fucking things I see out there, people are stupid.